Almost 30
I,
seconds before.
I think we're here. One more button to push. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to tonight's Outreach Noah class. If you would have joined the do you call that a pre-show, pre-program, pre-class class?
It's not a class.
No, it's not a.
It's more of a hangout.
There is some educational things that's discussed, but
Depends on what you call an education.
Yes, exactly. Hello, everybody. It's good to have you here tonight. Those of you listening to Power Faith Radio, it's great to have you listening in. If just go ahead and tell us, hey, this is who I am and I'm listening from, and we would appreciate that. And you can find out how to join our Zoom class if you just go over to our Facebook page, A Simple Walk, and there you'll find all the links to the Zoom class, to the YouTube, and also to the radio. And listen, while you're over there on the YouTube channel, watching now or watching a recording, share those videos with all your social media platform. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Also, while you're there and you got some questions while you're watching those videos, go on over and send us an email. Just send that email to outreachnoah@gmail.com. That's outreachnoah@gmail.com. How you doing, Terry?
Doing good.
You want to greet everybody? And I almost didn't take a breath. I got out of breath right there at the end, but I just couldn't stop. That's part of my past life coming out of me. So greet everybody in the Zoom room, Terry.
When we going to see a video clip of your past life?
I've got a bunch, and I don't know. I look at them sometimes. I think, was it me? I've got one where we were in a tent. And the tent was 200 by 300. And the camera zoomed in on me. It was way off and it zoomed in on me. And the guy was trying to keep up with me. The guy was chasing me down. And all of a sudden he just zoomed way back and just stopped. He didn't move it. There was no way keeping up with him. All right, go ahead, Terry.
I know a guy that works 9 hours a day isn't able to keep up with you. All righty. Greetings, everyone, and thank you again for coming to our Outreach Noah Wednesday night class. Here in the Zoom room, we have Mr. Scotty, of course, down in the engineering room. Mr. Ronald's up there helping Scotty keep an eye on things. Bob and Veronica. Veronica, where are you at? Are you still in Arkansas?
No, I actually arrived in Mississippi today.
Okay. You're in Mississippi today.
Are you cold, Veronica? It looks like you got a blanket on.
No, I have. It's just a hoodie.
Okay.
Then we have Sabra and Thomas and Karen. And like Scotty, I think Scotty said that if you want to come into the Zoom room, go over to a Simple Walk where he's got the announcement post for tonight's class. There are links. You can come into the Zoom room. You don't have to have the camera on. You can leave it off. If you just want to come in and join us, anyone and everyone's welcome to come on in if you want to do that. Tonight, we're going to continue with last week's what we got into Adam and Eve and discussed about responsibility. Tonight, we're going to continue on into what Rabbi Sacks calls Act 2 in Genesis, dealing with Cain and Abel and the subject of responsibility. I find it really interesting in how he has connected these. I already figured out a little bit about Adam and Eve on my own several years ago, but the way he's connected, he's called 4 Acts of Genesis and the birth of responsibility and humanity. It's a really good little mini series that we're doing here. Scotty, you about ready?
I am ready. I'm ready for our Sadaka time. We appreciate everybody who has participated and is participating in our time of giving charity, and we appreciate it so much. And so we're going to get right started into this. As always, we like to give, Terry and I like to give a Sadaka for our main teacher, Pesach, and his wife, Shira Sherbo. And then also we're giving a Sadaka tonight for Rabbi Moshe Schulman. He's doing better now, right? I mean,
I think I seen something. He's in Israel right now.
Yeah. I think he was over there and he had to go to the hospital or something, but he's out now, right?
medication issue must have been upsetting him or something. His mix of what he's taking or something new, maybe, I don't know. But he said it was a medication issue.
Okay.
And it's posting again, so
Yeah. I
so
saw.
I think yeah.
I saw where Rabbi Goldberg had sent me some pictures of Rabbi Herky, and I think it was Rabbi Herky and Rabbi Goldberg and Rabbi Schulman all together sitting at a table discussing some things. So, okay, so we're giving tzedakah for him. Also on our list tonight is Jeremy Kibbe. Be much in prayer for Jeremy Kibbe. He's changing his career. Also, I cannot. Shayna Shella. I think I got that correctly. I hope I got that correctly. Also, Harleen Hool is on our tzedakah list tonight. You know, this is hard to believe that I'm trying to read names because I am the worst person for names. And here I'm doing something that I know I'm the worst person for names. And it's because I had hooked on phonics. When I write it down, I know what it is. But then when I look at it, everything goes, you know what I'm talking about? Anybody know what I'm talking about? So if you see me stop for a minute and you know the name I'm about to give, please help me out. Feel free to help me out. If I mispronounce it, feel free to help me out. All right. Next on our tzedakah list is Warwick Marshall. And we've got him on our tzedakah list. Also, Evelyn Seal is on our tzedakah list. Fred Lee Rawls is on our tzedakah list. Does anybody talk to Fred? Is he doing any better? I haven't had an opportunity to. I know he came in last night just for our last class, just for a few minutes. But anyway, he's still on our tzedakah list. Nadine Akins, of course, I'm keeping her on the tzedakah list tonight. Nadine is doing so good. And Dave Logan is on our tzedakah list tonight. Also, Cindy Grisham. Cindy Grisham is on our tzedakah list tonight. Chrissy Seaton. I've kept Chrissy on there for a little bit. How is Chrissy doing, Ronald?
Oh, it's really good. She came to the ladies' meeting I host on Saturday, and yeah, she's quite bubbly and up to date with things, and yeah, she seems to be moving along quite well at the moment. So no issues. That's good.
Great. Also, William and Tina Lyons on our tzedakah list tonight. Ronald, how are you doing? And while you're there, tell us your sister's name. You know, I can write it down, but I can't say it. So tell us about you and your sister.
Oh, I'm really good at the moment, so I'm just thankful that I'm not suffering much in the pain department. Things settle, but we'll see it down the track. And my sister Diane Bankier, she's still nowhere. She's been in and out of hospital a couple of times, but they're just still having trouble trying to treat her. And, you know, the amount of medication she needs to be pain relief is really over the top. So, you know, we've got a concern there of becoming addicted to the OxyContin and so forth. So we're just keeping her in mind, and hopefully it's something will eventually turn up that they can treat her with.
Okay. We'll keep giving tzedakah charity for her. Also, Pamela Steffi. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Pamela Steffi is on our tzedakah list tonight. Also, Stefan Dunshire. Did I get that right?
Unshay. I know.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you.
Yeah, he's. I spoke to him. We had a Zoom, a video call 2 days ago. He's a lot better. He's back to his new job. He's doing what you do, Scotty.
Maintenance.
Yeah, and he says drywalling a ceiling's quite hard on your own.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fred, here comes Fred.
He seems a lot better, but I think he's. You know, he tires easy because he's still recouping from the pneumonia.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I'm right in the middle of this list, but I have to tell this story because I'll forget it. Years ago, I was building a house, and I was trying to do everything myself, and it was a huge ceiling in this house. I was on the top of a 12-foot ladder. I was young. I was crazy. You know, there's a song that says, "Be young, be foolish, be happy." Anyway, I was on this with a 8-foot half-inch piece of sheetrock, which sounds okay. I can do this. So I go up to the ceiling and I push my head against the sheetrock. Usually when you do that, you got to be on a rafter. Now, those of you that it's in building, you know what I'm talking about. I had my head between the rafters and didn't realize it. So when I pushed it up, the sheetrock busted in half come to this side, half come to that side. About 45 minutes, I woke up on the after I woke up on the floor and realized I was not going to climb that ladder again. So anyway, so that's so it was. I'm still here to tell about it. So you can see where it hit. Anyway, okay. Roger Davis is on our Sadaka list tonight, and also Shane Shella. I hope I got that correctly. On our blessed memory tonight.
Hey, Scotty, can I add one more name? My brother had called me on the way home. Our father's widow, his wife. She goes back in for another test on Friday, but they found a spot at the top of her lung against her back that they're going to be looking at.
Okay.
Her name's Joe.
Okay. We're going to give Sadaka for her right now.
They think it looks like it might be infection, but they don't know until they've got to examine her to see if she's healthy enough for them to go in and remove it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Send me, I guess her last, is it Hayes?
Yes, Hayes. My dad's wife.
Right. So we're going to add her to the list there and keep her on the list for a while. Also on our blessed memory Sadaka list, and these are greatly important as well as the others, because we're giving this charity in the merit for Linda Engelbert, and also Rabbi Shlomo Singer is on our blessed memory tonight. That's I think I got that correctly. That's Rabbi Singer's father. So we're giving a blessed memory Sadaka for him. Would you help us pray tonight? Hear our voice, Adonai. You are our God. You are the Father of mercy. Have compassion on us and accept our prayers with compassion and favor. For we know that you are a God who hears prayers and supplications. You are our King. Do not send us away empty-handed. Favor us and answer us and listen to our prayers. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Terry, are you ready to get started tonight? I think I'm going to put you on speaker view.
Did you get anything from last week?
No, there is people that text last week and said they're enjoying it and they're looking forward to the rest of what you're going to bring out on this. And I'd say after you get these next couple brought out, there's going to be a lot of questions come in.
Yeah, I went through and doing my studies on all, as Rabbi Sacks called it, the 4 acts this week, and hadn't really looked into the Tower of Babel in a long time, and it was really enjoyable. I enjoy studying, so yes, it was very enjoyable for me to do some learning in that area that I hadn't learned in quite a while. So I do look forward to each one of these. Before I get started tonight, I just wanted to bring something up, maybe for a little bit of discussion, if you don't mind. If you don't, it's fine. We can continue on. On the way to work this morning, I heard a stat of a poll that was given that was really, it disturbed me. And when I had a little bit of time this afternoon, I went online and was looking at some articles that was written on this stat. And one of them I've got here that I wanted to bring up, because we're talking about responsibility. We're talking about our job in changing the world, free will. We've been discussing a lot of that. And for me, this is a horrible stat. It's a very horrible stat in the state of our nation. And I would say it would probably even get worse if more people were polled. But from this particular poll, and some of you may have heard that this morning or maybe yesterday as well, but 41% of young voters say that United Healthcare CO killing was acceptable. Now, for those that are in other countries and maybe do not know what's going on here, here not too long ago, a person in New York, broad daylight, was caught on CCTV, whatever you call it, the cameras, shot and killed the CEO of United Healthcare. And for the reason why they're saying they've done this is because people are fed up. The American people are fed up with what's going on in our healthcare, situations in America. It says down here, U.S. voters between the ages of 18 and 13 were more likely than their elders to accept the recent killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And like I said, the reason why I said it goes on and says the reaction to Thompson's death and suspected shooter, his last name looks like it's Mangone, have captivated America. The event has laid bare public outrage toward the insurance industry. It says curiosity about Mangone's digital footprint and blatant lack of empathy from people online. So it's become acceptable to kill another human being because you don't like the way an organization or an institution is being run. This is 18 to 39 is the future leaders of our country, and they find it acceptable to walk up and shoot the president of a company because they don't like how healthcare is being done. That's disturbing. 41%. And we can look at the other side, over 40-something%. It gives the stats right here. 18 to 29, 41% acceptable. 30 to 39, 23% acceptable. 40 to 49, 13% acceptable. 50 to 59, 8% acceptable. 60 to 69, 9% acceptable. 70 and more, 11% acceptable. That they agree with this killing. %'s not acceptable. It's murder. It's not how you take care of something. And granted, our government's messed up. I could use some words that probably get me kicked off YouTube right now, referring to how bad our government is. But still, we have a system set up to where we can go in and handle these things through legal situations. And yes, it's long, it's drawn out, it costs a lot of money, but they do that on purpose. But killing's not the answer, and it's not acceptable. And we have nobody standing up saying this isn't acceptable. 1%'s not acceptable. 0.5% is not acceptable. To say that it's acceptable to kill someone because the healthcare industry is messed up. I mean, what's going to happen the next thing? Somebody going to walk into a grocery store and kill somebody, kill the manager of a grocery store because they don't like the prices? I mean, basically, come on. Where's it going to stop? These, we're going to be getting into a little bit about the, Noah here, next week, God willing, but not in this area, but as we've studied in the past, these are the very first steps. The question I asked, Genesis 6:12, they corrupted their way upon the earth. What was the way that became corrupted? Because evidently they had an uncorrupted way until it became corrupted. And society's ethics and character and morality are all part of what we've been discussing. And when we start seeing that it's acceptable to kill someone because you don't like how an institution's being run, that's beginning that slope into the generation of the flood. We somehow going to have some people to start standing up and saying, this is not acceptable. Granted, there are the percentages of people that didn't say this isn't acceptable, but the fact that 41% of our younger folks agree, yeah, this should have been done. That should be shaking the people in our country right now to think that it's acceptable to just go up and shoot somebody. I mean, we see it all the time in robberies and things like that, but this guy was the CEO of a company. You know what I'm saying? And so it's acceptable just to walk up in McDonald's and kill the manager because you don't like the taste of the fries. I mean, that's what we're talking about. It might sound stupid, but that's really what we're talking about. People that get their feelings hurt and don't know how to be responsible is going out and committing capital crimes. And it's actually there. It says here in the article that this person is being held as a hero. So I don't know. I just wanted to bring that to you here at the beginning, not just to bring something heavy, but it needs to be. We've got to come out with some way, somehow. We've got to bring morals and ethics back to our nation. We talk a lot about this at work. We're talking about Toyota parts counter, just a bunch of Tennessee boys, works on Toyotas, sells parts, mechanics. And we talk about stuff like this. And we've got one guy who's really, really educated in a lot of this stuff. And we were talking about, he came up the other day and like I said, my fellow coworker, one of them, he's a Baptist pastor of a small little bitty Baptist church out in the little bitty county church. And we have some really good discussions about these things. And one of the specialist techs that works on the hybrids was in there the other day, and they was, talking about, our country didn't start this bad decline until they removed God from schools and parents not being able to spank their children. I'm not talking about beating. I mean, I was switched by my grandparents and leather belted by my mom, but it didn't kill me. It corrected me. And so I looked at Dean and I said, this is what we've done. I said, you say God and spankings was removed. I said, that's not what happened. We removed morals and ethics, which we get from our Creator, and discipline that we get from our parents. That's what we removed from society. And this is where it's got us. It's acceptable to walk up on a sidewalk of a man on the way to work and shoot him in the back. We've got to figure out, guys, somehow to get our morals and ethics back in this country. Yeah, we can get leaders in there to fix our finances, but as long as our morals and our ethics is acceptable killings of of people, the money's not worth anything. The economy's not worth anything as long as the people are killing each other because their feelings are hurt or they're upset. So that's my 2 cents worth. That's the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. Scotty, anything? Well, I've got Scotty's picture right there reminds me of a video from the 80s. Which one is it? It's the one with all the heads. I think it is because you got that black background. Every time I look at that, I'm going back to 1986 or 84 or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking sometimes I'm going back there myself.
Oh. Anything, Scotty, before I jump in here where we're going?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry to lay something heavy on you, but I'm not sorry. This is I hope you go and you talk about this with your family, your coworkers. I hope you pray about it. And not just ask God to come and fix something. No, God didn't mess it up. We messed our own bedroom up. We got to clean it up. That's what he expects. You know, I seen a meme the other day. It's so pretty, religiously nice. God healed the person that I hurt and forgive me for doing so. You know what God requires in his Torah? He requires if you hurt someone, you go fix that. He doesn't fix between me and you. We fix between me and you. And right now, the me and you is messed up in this country. And, you know, with God's help, we'll gain the strength to pick up our dirty clothes, make up our bed, clean up our room, and try to have a decent society. We can't do what's going on in other countries, but we can do what's going on in our own communities, in your home, in your town, in your state. Scotty's got this little say. What's your Scotty's head's there again? I keep calling on him. Scotty got that. What's your little saying, Scotty?
Talking about impacting?
Yes.
You impact your community today. You and your community can impact the world tomorrow.
Amen. I'm done. Class over. No. So, yes, please take it to heart. Go online. Look at the articles. All you got to do is put in the articles on. Put in just Google. The poll that was taken on the killing of the CEO. 41%, 18 to 29 says this is acceptable. Go read the articles. Pray about them. Talk to your kids, your teenagers, your adult kids, your neighbors. Just maybe we can stop something from happening on the evil side. Last week we finished off with Adam and Eve, and the last thing that we said that what we learned from Adam and Eve. One of the things that we learned, there's many. One of the things we learned is that they denied personal responsibility. They denied personal responsibility. Tonight, Scotty, I know I went a little bit, but I would like to get Cain and Abel covered. So we may go just a little over, if that's okay with everyone. So if you've got to go, you can go and catch up with the video. But I'd like to cover each one of these each night. On the next couple of nights, I'll cover Noah and then Tower of Babel. And hopefully something won't go crazy in our world between now and then and get me all stirred up. The second act, as Rabbi Sacks puts it, the human drama descends into tragedy. 2 human children, Cain and Abel, have been born, and with them the sibling rivalry. One of Genesis' reoccurring themes. They both bring offerings to God. Abel's is accepted and Cain's is not. And we've discussed that in past classes. And we'll do it again because we're going to kind of go through the scriptures themselves up through about Genesis 12. God willing in the future. Why was not accepted will become clear in the course of this narrative. Cain is indignant. He had become very angry, and his face had become downcast. And God, reading his thoughts, responded. Then the Creator said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door, at your door. Its desire has you, but you can master it." Genesis 4, 6, and 7. This is a speech that connects precisely with the previous act. They denied God. Adam and Eve denied personal responsibility. God tells Cain that such denial is not accepted. Besides which it is not true. Yes, there is temptation in what the sages of Israel calls the evil inclination. Those who act under its sway claim to be powerless to resist it, but they are wrong, because God says we can. If your maker says you can master it, then you can. Sin is not irresistible. Our Creator who made us tells us that. It's desire to have you, but you can master it. God closes the route of escape. For Cain, there can be no denial of freedom or personal responsibility. Nonetheless, Cain kills Abel. And the Creator says unto Cain, "Where is your brother, Abel?" "I don't know," he replied. "Am I my brother's keeper?" This is really good with what we talked about a little bit here before we got into the text. And the Creator says, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Genesis 4:9. Cain does not deny personal responsibility. He does not say, "I could not help it." The blame lies elsewhere. He denies something different, namely moral responsibility. He acted and acted freely, but he sees no reason why he should be held accountable for what he did. He is not his brother's keeper. Adam claimed that his will was powerless before the world, as it acted on him in the form of his wife. Cain believes the opposite. The world is powerless before his will. We are entitled to do what we choose to do, and conscience does not impose its constraints. The great exponent of this view in modern times is Nietzsche. Who objected to religious morality, which he highly held to be a great opponent of the power for the will to power. Is an opponent. Religious morality, Nietzsche says, was an opponent of the power of the will to power. We deny God, he wrote. In denying God, we deny accountability. Only by doing that do we redeem the world. We're talking about this is what Nietzsche says. After the Holocaust, those words have a chilling ring. Hitler called conscience. You listen to this. Hitler called conscience a Jewish invention. Nietzsche was only an extreme example of an intellectual tendency that dominated the post-Enlightenment moral thinking. The idea that ethical principles, since they cannot be inferred from nature, have their own origin in human choice. Kant, K-A-N-T, called this autonomy. Whatever is heteronomous, imposed from the outside, is not an ethical imperative. He said, if we obey a law because we seek reward and fear punishment, we are not acting morally, merely prudent and pragmatically. To be moral is to be one's own legislator. This is coming from Kant. We do not submit to an ethical power higher than ourselves, for there is no such power. See, there Nietzsche and Kant denied the existence of God. When Byron sought a prototype for the rebellion of this reason against submission to authority, he found it in Cain. Cain thinks of religion in a way that in both ancient and very modern. It is there to serve us. We are not here to serve it. In mythical cultures we talked about last week, religious ritual is a way of placating, appeasing, or manipulating the gods into getting them to do, in other words, what we want them to do. The idea that someone might offer a sacrifice to God and hear the answer no is deeply shocking to Cain. And this is why his sacrifice was rejected. Cain has performed all the right moves only to discover that God is not a force to be cajoled or a power to be placated. God sees the heart and refuses to be manipulated. Cain responds by killing his brother. Erich Fromm suggests that a sadist violence has its origins in the feeling of aloneness and powerlessness. This next paragraph is from Erich Fromm's book, The Fear of Freedom. All the different forms of sadism which we can observe go back to one essential impulse, namely, to have complete mastery over another person, to make him helpless, a helpless object of our will, to become the absolute ruler over him, to become his God, to do with him as one pleases, to humiliate him, to enslave him, are means to this end. And the most radical aims is to make him suffer, since there is no greater power over another person than that of inflicting pain on him, to force him to undergo suffering without him being able to defend himself. The pleasure in the complete domination over another person or an animated object is the very essence of the sadistic drive. Having failed to impose, this is very interesting what Rabbi Sacks right here, having failed to impose his will on God, Cain inflicts it on Abel in the most ultimate form by murdering him. Cain does not fear freedom. On the contrary, he relishes it. What he fears is someone else's freedom. How much do we hear that from ruling governments? They're not afraid of freedom. They're afraid of your freedom. And this is what Cain was. What he fears is someone else's freedom, the freedom of God to say no. He takes his revenge by denying Abel the freedom to be. That is what is wrong with the will to power. I purchased my freedom at the cost of yours. Why should I accept constraints on my behavior? Why should I do why should I do as I wish? The answer is, of course, that this cannot be the result of conflict, bloodshed, and tragedy. That ultimately is why morality exists. Morality exists so we can eliminate conflict, bloodshed, and tragedy. Whatever we take to be its source, only if my freedom respects yours can we create a non-tragic human world. I'll read that again. Only if my freedom respects your freedom can we create a non-tragic human world. The power of the story of Cain lies in the candid acknowledgement at the dawn of human time of the connection between religion and violence. The first murder was occasioned by the first act of worship. The first murder was occasioned by the very first act of worship. According to Rene Girard, the greatest, I love these long words like Scotty likes, theoretician of violence. He's a theorist on violence and the sacred. Religion is born in the attempt to deflect violence away from the group of by practicing it on a surrogate victim, the scapegoat. Primitive societies are riven by vendettas. A member of one family kills a member of another. Relatives of the victims takes revenge, and the cycle of retaliation begins, to which there is no natural end. The only way that the group as a whole can experience catharsis is by killing and substitute animal or human form outside of the group. The Cain narrative is in a way more profound because it tells us that violent conflict can exist not only between different members of a group, but within a single human mind. Cain takes out on Abel the violence he feels toward God. Cain took out on Abel the violence he feels toward God when God said no. It is a story of great psychological candor. Cain denies neither his deed nor the freedom with which he performed. What he denies, what Cain denies, Adam and Eve denied responsibility. Cain denied accountability. Am my brother's keeper? For him, there is no I ought to countermand I want or I will. No voice beyond choice, no authority beyond emotion and desire. Cain refuses the terms of morality itself, its otherness, its givedness, its unyielding insistence that there is something to which the will itself is subject, a reality by whose constraints we are bound and which we did not choose. Cain denies not personal, but moral responsibility. Scotty? You want discussion on anything that we covered on any of that? Because that was a mouthful there, but it's very interesting what we learned. that Cain denies accountability. He denies moral responsibility. And he took out on Abel that which he wanted to take out on God.
No, just a lot of people showing understandable things of that nature. You know, it's, you can see when it's laid out in front of you, it's, you know, it's understandable. So, but no questions, just.
I know I kind of went through that, you know, a little quick, but I took a little bit of time at the beginning. But it kind of ties together what we talked about. Here we had a man who walked up and shot another man in the back because he was angry at a system. And so what he denied, he wanted his power. He took his freedom and removed the other man's freedom to be, just like Cain did Abel. It's what we see. What Cain did to Abel is what we seen happen on the street of New York City here a couple of days ago. The denying of moral responsibility, the denying of accountability.
So, you know, we bring up things like this, and sometimes people think this is an isolated incident, but it's not. It's it happens everywhere for many reasons, and you know, we had just here some time back an officer was shot, and people said, well, I understand why. I know why he got shot. That doesn't fix the problem. You know, people say, oh yeah, that should have happened. That don't fix the problem. So something my grandmother always used to tell me, and I'm going to dump it in here and then throw it back to you. I do understand, you know, people want to say, okay, this is happening. And I'm trying to, you know how I do, I choose my words wisely. Prayer is taken out of school and God is taken out of school. But we should not expect our children to learn about God or prayer in school.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point I've been making. It's
a place for them to show forth their faith and their prayer, but at the same time, and this is I'm going to bring out what my grandmother said. Hold on just a minute. At the same time, we have to be reverenced of other people's feelings. If I cannot use my religion to batter someone else, I cannot use my political views to batter someone else. I have to be respective of political views and religious views. But my grandmother always said, I finally got here. My grandmother always said, you clean up the house and the streets take care of themselves. You clean up your personal living room. You clean up your living room, and the streets will take care of themselves. So so we got to get back to a family orientation. I hope that made sense to everybody.
No, I agree. You know, I'm 100% with that. Yes, I agree. These things have been removed out of our society. But as I don't want teachers teaching my kids politics, I don't want them teaching religion either. Those are things that's individual within the home. The aspect I feel like some of the guys are talking about, and this is my personal feeling, is that the whole issue that we have a creator that we answer to is what has been removed, and we don't have a respect, you know, toward that. We're not acknowledging that our nation is under, you know, his authority, you know, according to his way he wants us to live as humans. And that's what we talk a lot about here on Outreach Noah is what, you know, the question is what, you know, we've been getting, what are we supposed to be doing? You know, and this is what we're supposed to be doing. When we look at what failed at the flood, what failed at Sodom and Gomorrah, what failed at Nineveh, when we looked at what look at what failed, then we start seeing what we need to strive for success in. If that made any sense. We've seen that they failed in their morals and their ethics. Well, we need to look at morals. I mean, there's plenty of sites on the internet. I mean, as I've been doing my studies, I'll go to these and I've got copies of some things over here, articles I've printed off from blogs. There's a lot of information on societal ethics out there. But it's not being taught in our home. And we can't blame the parents today because they wasn't taught. You know, the church I grew up in doesn't even exist anymore. And as I studied, as after certain things happened in the mid-90s, that it had a lot of cultish, but there was a lot of things that our leader taught us that has stuck to my wife and I to this day. Like when our children were small, when you go out to a restaurant, your kids don't disturb the table next to them. If you make a mess, you clean it up. If your kids make a mess on the floor, clean it up. Don't leave it for somebody else to pick up your mess. When you stay at a hotel, clean it up before you leave. Put your dirty linens and stuff, gather it all up and put it in the tub. Leave the server a tip. There was morals and ethics, society ethics, when we came to our church conventions that we were taught. These were sermons. The how we represented, how we were in the community is how the people saw the God we served, was what we were taught. You know, you're in his image. And what kind of image are you going to leave when you're at a restaurant, in a hotel, tourist attractions? These things, believe it or not, these are things that we were taught in our sermons that stuck with my wife and I. Did we have some squirrely religious dogmas and ideas? Yeah. Now that I've, after everything happened and I went and researched and found some things out. But on the everyday life, we taught a lot of good stuff that hasn't been taught anywhere. And those are things I'm proud of. The leadership of the church I grew up in, a denomination, is that we were taught from early on how to live, how to act, because wherever you go, you take God with you. And whatever you do, you leave the image of God in that image. How did you leave that person you interacted with? Because you just left that person's view of the God of image in how you acted, what you did. And that's not being taught in our families anymore. It's not being taught in our churches anymore, our religious centers, whatever you want to call them. I make a call. Let's return back to sermons on ethics and morals of societal living, family living, societal responsibilities. Go to church, ask your pastor, when's the last time you preached on morality, ethics? It came down from Mount Sinai. That's eternal. That God judges us by. A lot of sermons today, and I'll be honest, it's one reason why I got out of it. It's feel-good stuff. Everybody, one of the last messages I preached was on responsibility, your personal responsibility. I didn't even know I'd be here today where I'm at today, but I had older folks sitting in here just shaking their head because of some of the things I were saying. I was associate pastor of a Pentecostal church. In this one congregation I was in, I preached a message on women that were well endowed didn't need to be out in the altar jumping up and down. Got my butt in trouble. But it just wasn't, it's not proper. And I had guys coming to me, talking to me about that kind of stuff. And then when I preached on it, they turned their back on me. But this stuff is just not being taught. Go to your pastor, preach a sermon on morals and ethics. If he has to go to Google, Rabbi Google, Minister Google, wherever you want to call Google up ethics, societal ethics that's natural to humanity. and say, teach us how to act, how to live everyday life as a godly human being. We need that in our country right now, bad. It needs to seep from the pulpit into the kitchen table. That's one of the things I really love about Blue Bloods. I've been a fan of Blue Bloods since day one. Even though it's a Catholic family, I don't agree with Catholicism for a lot of things. But one of the things I love is every episode ends up around the kitchen table. And they have family discussions. It's one of the last few shows that tries to speak of morality out of Hollywood the best that it can. And I applaud that. I really enjoy that show for that reason, because if you really watch it, they deal with issues, everyday issues, and how they struggle with, the rights and the wrongs. And we just don't have a lot of that anymore. Go ahead, Scotty.
I'm going to let
I'm on my soapbox now.
Okay, I'm going to let the evangelist come out of me for a little bit. I'm going to read something from Chabad.org. I'm in the book of Psalms, Tehillim, as some people would refer to it. Chapter 1. This is, no matter what's going on around me, this is how I need to act. And I love the way Chabad has translated this. The praises of a man are that he did not follow the counsel of the wicked, nor did he stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the company of scorners. But his desire is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted besides rivulets of water, which brings forth its fruit in its season, and its leaves do not wither. That part right there stunned me, because even though it may even be winter outside, it said his leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever he does prospers. I just wanted to throw that in.
There you go.
So
I'm just really motivated on what I have learned out of Genesis over the last 15, 20 years. And now I'm getting into Rabbi Sacks is really bringing out even in a further aspect than I've gotten into. And it's just what I see with our nation and our country, and like I said, we can bring men and women to our leadership to fix the economy, fix the money, but they're not going to fix morality. That's going to have to start in home. It's got to start at home. It's got to start with you. Michael Jackson wrote the song. If you want to change the world, then you change the man in the mirror.
All right.
We got to start with the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to fix our country, guys. We start with the person that's looking back at you in the mirror.
So Bob on the radio, not Bob here, Bob on the radio.
Radio Bob.
Yeah, this Radio Bob. Bob said he had a great opportunity this week to punch a man in the mouth. I
understand that. I had that a couple years ago. I know where you're going with that.
But he said, I ended up buying his lunch and not telling him about it.
I didn't go that far. Probably should.
Wow.
Good on you, Bob.
Good on you, Bob. Wow.
Great example.
Yep. So thank you, Bob, for sharing that. I find myself texting sometimes or putting a comment where somebody's got this thread, and I'll type out about 100 words, and I'll almost hit my fingers going down to send it, and I start hitting the delete button. Now
I think we all do that.
Yeah.
That's learning to master the evil inclination. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't do it more than we should, and instead of doing it, but it's it comes with practice. Our Creator, he loves us. He put us in this situation, and when we overcome and we grow, even in the smallest of points, he rejoices in his child.
Yep. All right. Well, Terry, it's 9:00. Now let's talk about next week, Terry, and the week after next.
Next week, God willing, we will be moving into Act 3. Brings us to Noah and the flood.
Now,
the case of Noah is one of the strangest in the Bible. I'm just going to leave it like that.
Okay. Now
Then, God willing, the next one, Act 4. Let me see where I start at. Act 4 is the Tower of Babel. Is a text of extraordinary compactness. Those are the first two sentences of the next two acts, and that's where I'm going to leave them at.
Okay. Now, next week is a eve of a Western holiday that we do.
New Year's Eve. Oh, I forgot about New Year's.
No, not New Year's Eve.
Okay, what is it?
It's the week after.
Oh, Christmas.
Yeah. So
okay. You know what?
Not that we celebrate that.
That's a family. No, that's a time of where families come and get together. Yeah. And
what Bob said.
Do what?
You're exactly right. Bob's a bank holiday. Bob, you are on top of it.
Right. But it's still a traditional day of family. We don't have a lot of family traditions left in this modern generation. And if you have the opportunity to be with grandma and grandpa and the kids and aunts and uncles, maybe you're a widow or a widower that's lost someone this year and you've got family, go be with your family next Wednesday. Don't come look at us. Let's take next Wednesday off.
Okay. And then the following.
Now that's New Year's.
That's New Year's.
Okay. That's the night. Now, do y'all have plans on getting drunk? Bob's looking, what are you talking about? I know what happens on New Year's Eve. My daughter manages a pub over here.
That happens the night before. That's
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night is the first.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't got the calendar in front of me.
Okay. So Wednesday night's the day you take your out. Oh, I almost plugged. Oh,
so wait a minute. You're saying that that day's the day everybody's gonna be hungover.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
hey guys, we can just talk straight here. We know what happens. Not everybody, participates.
So on that day, I'm going to be traveling.
You're going to be traveling?
I'm going to be traveling that night.
You be careful.
Thank you.
Okay. So do we want to say is it the next two Wednesdays?
The next 2 Wednesdays, and we'll be back on the 8th.
Okay. Why don't we do that? Y'all go be with your families and don't get drunk. Be safe. Celebrate New Year's, in a safe manner. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just being real. I'm from, I'm down here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I know what goes on. I'm not stupid, but be with your families, both days, however you want to do it, be careful, be safe. Watch out for the fools out there who don't care to be safe. That's the big thing, so the next 2 Wednesdays, we'll take a break. I know it's kind of hard being gone and then trying to remember to come back, but Scotty, maybe you can put on the radio a little bit and then a reminder that we're coming back when we do on that.
And that don't mean you all got other stuff going on too, that, you're going to be doing that stuff. I got a question to ask Bob right here. Bob. So Bob, I've been looking at that picture behind you. So is that some cloth pieces, or is that a picture? Should I ask Sabra what? Because it's unique. It looks like it's like some cloth that has
Can I tell you what I think it is? Because I've been doing the same thing. I've been looking at it. It looks like pieces of tartan.
So
quite possibly.
Okay. See, I don't even know if Bob's upstairs or downstairs right now. So
he's upstairs. He's no longer downstairs.
So what is that? Is that some pieces of cloth?
It's an artwork. It's art. What do you want?
It looks great.
No, we can't see the whole thing.
It's art.
It looks great, Bob. I've said it really catches your attention. And I'll tell you what it does to me. It takes me back to like childhood, because I had a shirt that started like the pieces at the top and ended up like the pieces on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone found it and they made a piece of art out of it.
I think that's great. And another piece of art back in Ronald's backdrop tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Is someone who painted that for Ronald.
Mm-hmm.
Hand painted.
Yep.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
And then I see Karen in here tonight, and she's got the world and the stars behind her. She's just everything's behind her.
See, it seems like there's a song about being on top of the world. Was that by the Carpenters or something like that?
I'm on the
top of the world.
Yeah. We have to change the
Looking
word
down on creation. There we go.
Yeah.
We'll get in trouble, copyright,
Hey,
copyright.
if you seen my post on Facebook, I took a picture of Elsie, our cat's face.
Yes.
I was sitting there singing, and before we went to bed, there was like this one show that we were watching while we were eating before we went to bed, and the music, intro music to it is kind of opera-ish. And I was like, oh, and I looked over and Elsie was like, no, don't. So I've got a picture of her giving me the eye. I'm like, I had to post that.
Oh goodness.
Listen, like my singing.
Ronald was in here for a minute, and he was going to talk to us about what he's been going through. So next week, or the next time we come, which will be on the 8th, maybe he'll have a little better testimony to give, but he wanted to make a statement about a miracle that has happened to him, but he is still fighting some staph infection. So we'll reach out to him and talk to him a little bit if we can. And
that's Fred.
Huh?
That's Fred.
Fred.
Who did I say?
Ronald.
Ronald, you are always on my mind. Oh goodness!
He's just wanting those lottery ticket numbers. Is all he's wanting.
That's all. At least let's see. Harold, did I say that right, Karen? Harold.
Yeah. Harold.
I didn't call him. What did I used to call him?
Ralph or something.
Now I have to think about that one.
Yeah, I don't remember. But see, I have a excuse. I have excuse. I'm old.
Sure. Was it the Hooked on Phonics that did it?
It was Hooked on Phonics. Back a few years back, my employer had this apartment complex. And if you walk into the foyer areas of these 3 buildings, they all look the same. And I was working on this apartment one day, and I had to go get some tools out of the vehicle. So I walked down to get some tools, and I had to get some tools out of a closet. So I walked to get some tools out of a closet, and I forgot what building I was in. My mind did not tell me I forgot what building I was in. So here I'm carrying my tools across my arm, and I got these plumbing stuff in the other arm, and I walk up this apartment, and I grabbed the doorknob. I said, well, I don't remember locking that door. So I pulled out my pass key and opened the door, and I stepped in, and there was these people eating dinner and just looking at me, and I said, hello, goodbye. And I just pulled, and the funny thing about it was they told me later, they said, if it had been anybody else, we would have been screaming, but we know how you are.
Hey, guys on the radio, if you want to know what goes on before we come on the air, this is what we do for about 20 minutes before we come on the air. So,
yep. So, all right, guys, you know what I got to go do? Yeah,
I got to go lock gates.
Yeah, I could have went early. It's getting dark at 5:30 now. And of course, we're about to go into that winter, the first day of winter, and then the days will start getting longer again.
Just not quick enough.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I didn't. I just sat here enjoying a seat, a soft, comfortable seat. Never neglect your soft, comfortable seats. Okay, so everybody have a great time with your family.
Yes.
This upcoming time. Try to, I know when you change thoughts and faiths and beliefs, sometimes we get to this point where we want to pound it into our loved ones, and we end up in a separation mode. But make amends. Not just now, because that's not just because this time of year. This is a family time of the year. Every day should be a family time of the year. Every day. I'm not giving credit to what the time of the year it is. I'm just saying, here lately, I have been more trying to give the narrative of try your best to calm the situation and be family. I would give anything, if I could talk to my dad. He's my stepdad, but he's my dad.
Yeah, I was telling my brother the same thing tonight when he called, because 21st will be a year that Dad's been gone.
Yeah.
It's been 24 years since Mom's been gone, and we grew up in a family and system that didn't, keep traditional holidays and things. And now he's not much into it, but all his families and kids and grandkids are all. He's like, well, I gotta go. I said, no, don't go the negative route. Go be with your wife tonight when you shop. Go be with your kids on that day. I said, how much would you like to have Mom and Dad right here? And we did something, regardless, what we might not agree with what they wanted to do, but it was something to have time with them. You would do it because you miss Mom and Dad. Guys, don't cause rifts in your family over religion and politics, because there's going to come a time that family's not going to be there, and you're going to find out how useless those arguments are. Enjoy each other.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
Good night.
See y'all later.